Here's a question for you. I'm not going to pronounce your name, mate. I'm assuming that's Bengali. It's fine. We're inclusive here.
That's easy.
Go on then. But he says, "What do you do so that the demoralization doesn't get to you?"
I personally, I've been. I know quite a lot of people have sort of become red pilled more recently over over the you know what, yeah, and whatnot, and Brexit maybe. I've been pretty based on onto what was going on since I was 16, so a good fucking 20 years now. You just sort of learn to deal with it. I enjoy the simple things in life. Don't get too black pilled. My dogs give me hope because I do very much understand that it's easy to get demoralized sometimes. No, it especially demoralizes me. I hate to see, these endless videos of white people being assaulted by migrants. I find that hard to take, so I try to avoid it as much as I can.
I'm
But
quite
yeah,
guilty of sharing some of them,
well,
to be
people
honest.
need to see it, mate. People, or the normies need to see it, but I know what's going on, so I just don't like to watch it because I know.
Yeah. What about yourself, Clive?
That's what I see with demoralisation as I compare it to see the climate alarmists where they're so black-pilled about the future because they've been bombarded with like fear porn and the world's going to end, and they get to the point where they say, "I'm not going to bring children into this world to suffer this emergency we find ourselves in." And I see the same sentiments echoed by people that are looking at the real demographic situation we find ourselves in. The laws being created to oppress and victimise us. Like all those things are true, but I think you need to work on yourself. Make sure you're out, you're exercising, you're trying to better yourself in some way. Don't just sit in a rut and let yourself rot away in depression. Uh, Try and this might sound take it whatever you want to take it, but I think this really works. Is try and master getting control of the voice in your head that can sometimes run away and depress you even more. And anything you look at is depression, and it's constant reinforcement of depression. And then you decide, I'm not going to try. There's no point in getting a woman. There's no point in trying to build a family because why bring a child into this? But it's the same sentiment that the climate alarmists and other people say. I see this a lot with the manosphere. They say, I'm not going to go near a woman because this horrible experience I've heard about numerous times has happened. And you're like, no, all you're doing is reinforcing your belief that everything's pointless. You need to make an effort, better yourself, find someone compatible with you, similar worldview, and have children. Find like minded people around about you that you can bond with. Don't isolate yourself. There's a lot of people that are in a horrible state at the moment, fully demoralised, depressed because a lot of the lockdown is a big contributing factor where they were locked away for long enough in isolation. And now that's just how they live their life. And it's a sorry state we find ourselves in. People are just defeated. Don't give up. Don't give up trying. Don't give up bettering. So just fucking go for it. And you'll see light at the end of the tunnel. You'll see things are worth fighting for and preserving, and you'll not throw in the towel.
No, amen to
Amen.
that.
Do you know what? I used to feel, sorry, Deej, just quick. I used to feel a bit embarrassed, and I've got over it recently. Like talking about like you two good chaps and Sensum and 42, too many to mention. I used to feel a bit embarrassed, Wolfie, another one, saying me mates online. But honest to God, if I didn't know that you good people were out there, do you know when you feel like, am I alone in this? Am I going mad and everything's just, am I imagining all this and no one agrees with me? I'd find it a comfort just knowing that there's other like-minded people, and it means a lot to me. Just all of our interactions in our kind of circles. Because honest to God, I get sectioned. I think if I thought I was the only one who thought like I thought.
No, 100%. What about you, DJ? What's your take on the last question?
It's funny, just the post I've highlighted there, because this is my wee Telegram channel, and it started off just, well, it still is mainly me going out sightseeing, hiking, and whatnot. Something I became very passionate about. There's my gift there, like, boy. Anyway, I hate having to share the whole tab, but this has been my outlet. Me and my dog. To this day, like, my missus took this photo because now my missus comes out with it as well. I don't think I'll ever see a better photo. Like, I never took it, obviously, but I absolutely love that photo. But
cracking.
my sort of way to get away from all of the shite is to just go out and, to that person's comment, I'm not going to do what No Chance did. I'm not going to say her name, mate. But aye, it's just going out in the Highlands. I'm blessed, obviously, for where I live, but just go out with my dog as much as I can, and I just embrace nature, switch off for a few hours, because all these places that I go to, and every weekend I go out after work, the weekends and whatnot, I tend to go to these places. You get no signal, you just switch off. You know, it's a bit of a selfless plug in many respects, but in terms of my channel, but it's, you know, not something I'm very passionate about. I have been since the lockdown, so that's when I started to do it. And then I started to take the dog out a bit more, and it's just, I absolutely love it. That is my escape, and I think it probably will be for many years to come, in all honesty. So, I mean, there's nothing. I mean, as sad as it sounds, there is not a nicer feeling than seeing my dog taking the lead off the dog, because he's a Jack Russell. I can't do that like when I'm about other people. But in the middle of nowhere, and just let him do his thing. Jack Russells are one of those specific dogs that are hardwired to, you know, they've been bred for specific purposes to hunt and, you know, whatnot. But what I'm saying is that letting him off his lead and just watching him operate the way that he's supposed to, the way that he's curtailed in doing so when he's in a council estate, when he's on a lead, watch him in the middle of nowhere, just acting like a Jack Russell, acting his natural self. That brings a sort of bizarre joy to me that many might not necessarily understand.
No, mate, it's not bizarre. I think everyone will agree there. I know what you're talking about.
It's just, it's a nice feeling.
Essentially, what you're describing is find something you love and
Yeah.
don't be afraid to enjoy it. It's okay